Hello everyone, so today I will be replacing the bearing side of the transmission for the 1/10 scale Traxxas Rustler. Alright, so let's get started. So first we're going to take the wheels off just to get them out of the way. Makes everything a little bit easier. Now that we have this, what we're going to do is take off these screws right here on the bottom. So after we take off the bottom screws, now we're going to do is get these 4 screws right here. You can see them, these ones. Alright, so once you get those screws out, the whole rear of the car will come apart, and I usually just set the car aside. So now what we're going to do is unscrew one of the screws that holds these shocks to the shock tower. You only have to do this to one of the sides. Be aware that there is a washer behind that screw. So now on the same side that you took the shock off, you're going to unscrew the top suspension arm, and you can see that there is a washer behind that screw too. Those 2 screws right there and there that I am pointing at, we're going to take them out so that the rear suspension arms come off. Now we're going to take off these 2 screws right here that hold on that black case so that we can get to the screws that hold on the motor. After you take off that case, you're going to get your 7mm wrench and unscrew the nut that holds on the large gear and the spring. After you take off the spring, the gear will come off along with the clutch underneath it, and under that clutch there is a pin in the shaft that you want to take out. By the way, there is a bearing inside of the large gear. Now you're going to use your Phillips screwdriver to unscrew the motor from the bulkhead. Now using your 1.5mm hex screwdriver, unscrew the drive shafts from the bulkhead. Now use the Phillips screwdriver to unscrew all the screws that are in the bulkhead. So once you take out all the screws, you can take the bulkhead apart. There are a total of 6 bearings inside the total bulkhead. There's 2 that are stuck inside that bulkhead. There's 1 hidden behind the shaft. There's 1 under the differential. And there are 2 bearings inside of that gear that I'm pulling out right now. 1 on each side. So after you clean or replace all the bearings inside the bulkhead, you're going to get your screws and screw the bulkhead back together. Once you get the bulkhead screwed back together, we are now going to put the motor back in using the 2 screws that we used to take it out. So now we're going to put the big gear in, but first we have to stick that pin in the shaft. Then we're going to put the clutch on, and then the gear goes on top. Now we're going to fasten the large gear to the bulkhead by using the 7mm hex screwdriver. Make sure you guys put the spring on and then the nut. Once everything is fastened down with the gears, we are going to put the cover back on by using the Phillips screwdriver. Now you are going to use your 1.5mm hex screwdriver to screw on the drive shafts. Once the bulkhead is all good, you can grab your shocks, shock mounts, and suspension arms, which are all attached to each other, and we can start putting them on. So now you're going to get those long screws and stick them through the shaft, and then screw them in when they're all the way in, and you do that for both sides. Now we're going to screw the shock back to the shock tower, and you're going to need that washer that we took off before. Now we're going to attach the top suspension arm to the shock tower, and make sure that you put that washer back. Once the suspension arm is connected, you can finally grab the rest of the car, and we are going to finally attach the back to the car. Once the shock tower is all fastened down, you're going to grab your screws for the bottom plate so you can screw the bulkhead back on. Once everything is all tightened down, you're going to finally put your wheels back on, and that's about it.